How you doing, everybody, and welcome to the Bi-conics Wrestling Podcast AEW Dynamite review for July 12th, 2023. That's a lot of stuff to say out loud. I am the Professor, also known as John Crossway, for those of you who are keeping up. I'm joined today by Mikey, who runs this whole channel. I'm very happy to have the Mikey back from his vacation. How are you, man?
I am good. I'm physically exhausted because, vacation's supposed to be relaxing, but traveling takes a lot out of you.
JVL isn't here. JVL's in another country today, which is fantastic, and congratulations to him for getting a chance to leave. AEW Dynamite was yesterday. A lot of stuff in there. I actually went and found my AEW tag team belt to make sure that I have it in the background because I was tired of having boring, bland backgrounds. So a lot of stuff. This was a great Dynamite. I was really excited by this Dynamite. It was really entertaining. There's a few stuff that I called a week or two ago that's starting to happen, which I'm really, really excited about.
This was a really, really fun Dynamite, and of course, I watch AEW to keep up.
Right. And we're still in our Best of Canada tour, so a lot of the Canadian folks are getting a lot of the airtime, which is totally cool. Night starts out with Chris Jericho and Commander. I thought this was a great way to start. I didn't hate it. I did feel that Commander was a little rushed on a handful of things. A brilliant lucha does some amazing things. Probably one of the better tightrope walkers. There were one or two spots here in the beginning where I thought Jericho kind of saved his life. And it was sort of, you missed that a little. So a little higher frenetic energy. But by the middle of this match, I think they got into a great groove. And I bought it. I actually, the Canadian blood in Chris Jericho is making him younger up in Canada. Doing a lot of great work the last few weeks being up in Canada, just motivated by being back home, I feel like. And this was almost a young Chris Jericho match. I didn't feel like at any moment I was worried about him being in pain or he was going to throw his back out or something ridiculous like that. It was really good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this opening match, of course. And I've noticed that Dynamite, across all of AEW, they normally open with some sort of luchador involved in some sort of match to open all their shows. You had Commander this week. Last week or 2 weeks ago on Rampage, Commander was facing Claudio for the Ring of Honor Championship.
That sounds right. Yeah.
And then over on Ring of Honor, all the Lucha Squad has been in opening matches. Tony Khan really likes the flippy dudes, and I like the flippy dudes. I just wish flippy dudes would get more storyline.
More storylines, right? More to do than just flippy dude stuff, right? Like sort of, hey, this is great. All right, go back to the tent. We'll see you next week. Like, no, put him in the story. Like, make things happen.
And I know, and I know that
I'm curious.
Go ahead.
I'm curious how good they are on the mic. Like, I want to hear him speak and go for it. Like, show me something. As you were saying, go ahead.
No, I agree. And I know that this match just served for Chris to win, because then the important bit was not even the match itself, it's what happened afterwards, because Don Callis comes out in the ring, and this was a weird payoff. This was a weird thread of story that didn't make no sense, because I thought Chris was going to be a part of it. And don't get me wrong, I like Chris Jericho. I didn't want him to be the 5th member of Blackpool Combat Club for Blood and Guts, which we'll talk about towards the end. But it was weird to have this story thread throughout the show, and there was no real payoff unless something happens with Chris at Blood and Guts.
I don't know. I think if you were going to play the nostalgia of this angle between the two, you should have done it 2 or 3 weeks ago, right? You should have done it when you first got to Toronto and then sort of played it up every week. Like, here's another thing from the past. Here's another thing from the past. And they might have been taken for granted that it's Canadian audiences, and the Canadians obviously know who Don Callis in the history. I'm just a humble, stupid American, and I had none idea. So you could have milked that a little bit longer and sooner.
Space it out. Like, this could have happened 2 weeks ago, or then a quick video promo with the nostalgia of why Don Callis likes Chris Jericho a lot, and just have everybody think, oh, is Chris Jericho going to be a part of this? Is he not? And then did the dissension between Chris and then the rest of his JAS members.
So, okay, let's let the Don Callis thing simmer. We get Alex Marvez backstage right after this, waiting for Jungle Boy Jack. Are we still calling him Jungle Boy, or is it just Jack Perry now?
I wrote in my notes that he's officially Jack Perry, so he's
just Jack Perry.
It's just Jack Perry. It's gonna be very hard for my brain to not want to keep calling him Jungle Boy.
I mean, now it's almost like a slight to Jack Perry to hey, Jungle Boy, like just calling him that name because we know where he came from. So Alex Marvez is backstage. He's hanging out. He's tapping on the window. Jack Perry's not opening the door. I don't want to. This one felt off to me from the start because Alex is not the best in the moment and on the mic at all.
Love you, Alex Marvez, but this wasn't it.
I love you. You're great, but you're kind of stuck. Like, we've been waiting outside by this SUV. It's like, yeah, really? Have you now? And I guess Hook was in the car. Did you catch this? All of a sudden, there's a flash of hair and face, and then he's getting beat up all of a sudden.
The blocking was so weird for this. Like,
this made no sense.
I think, like, maybe I'm misremembering, but I thought I heard the other side of the car open or whatever. But what should have happened is like, for me, again, from blocking and from a storytelling perspective, if the doors are locked, then I thought it would have been more effective and quite frankly hilarious if, as this interview was going on, Hook slowly like popped up from behind Jungle Boy, and Jungle Boy said something like, "I'm in this car safe, all the doors are locked," and then Hook will just tap him, or even just to acknowledge you, like, fourth wall break. He's right behind me, isn't he? Alex Marquez nods his head, and then they start fighting in the car.
Do something cinematic. I think they went all in on like, I'm really angry. This is my promo. No, instead of like, hey, if you're gonna tell a story with this, do more than it felt rushed. It felt a little meh to me.
So here's the funny bit. So I know that they're trying to get Hook into a feud because I believe Danhausen is still out on injury, but I have heard Danhausen talk more. No, I've heard Hook talk more when he was paired with Danhausen, like when they were Hookhausen as like their tag team. That's when Hook was talking more because Danhausen's crazy, but Hook is like, all right, you're weird, but you're kind of cool.
So yeah, I didn't mean to talk like I've never heard you speak, but also like I haven't heard a lot of you.
I mean, it makes sense for his archetype of a wrestler because he's just gonna kick your ass and then that'd be it.
Yeah. But I'm the tough guy from the streets. Yeah.
This whole entire feud has been a mess, and like the moment it lost interest for me is when Jungle Boy turned on him at Forbidden Door for no apparent reason.
Like, you lost interest before the feud even started. You lost interest in the feud
because there was nothing to lead into the betrayal.
That's what we said here. It was like, why are we here? We leave this strange promo land with Jungle Boy because I can't not say it. Renee's backstage, and conveniently, Don Callis walks by on the phone talking about a street sign. If you listen to him talking, he's just like something, yeah, street sign. And then doesn't really hang up. He just takes his phone and puts it away.
Yeah, he just tells Renee, he's just like, hey, it's just so you know, I will be out in the ring announcing who the 5th member is for Blood and Guts for Blackpool Combat Club. And Renee's like, that's kind of bold given everything that's happened. And then he just continues to, like, he answers her and continues to talk on the phone as he leaves. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and whoever's on the phone with him is just now in his pocket listening to his whole conversation.
Sure, why not?
Calls Kenny Omega a coward and all these things because you're in Canada and Kenny Omega is basically the mayor of Canada. So you just want to get heat quickly, run your mouth about Kenny Omega. That happened, fine. Not
next up. It's the best segment.
Fine. So blind eliminator tag match. Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin versus finally some Jericho Appreciation Society.
Wait,
Daniel Garcia,
John, you're forgetting something.
What did I forget?
Before this was MJF and Adam Cole's little spot.
Okay. I'm sorry. These are not in the updates at AEW, and that drives me crazy. Let's talk about the best part of the night. I apologize.
Best story, 10 out of 10.
I love it. So I called this 2 weeks ago. Like, I really hope they do the buddy cop thing. I really want to see MJF and Adam Cole traveling the country, doing stuff together. The fact that we start this segment, they're at a bar 5 shots deep is hysterical. The fact that MJF plays Creeper and follows 4 women into a bathroom, no questions asked. I bought it. I was like, yeah, I guess that's you. Okay. Gross.
My favorite part of this whole thing, for the first half of this, Adam Cole's like, hey, I need to be honest with you. I didn't lose the shirt. But I promise I will wear it if you do what I want to do next. And MJF's like, sure, what that is. And then Adam Cole whispers in his ear, and just the comedic timing, oh, what the? And then it pans over to the next scene.
Where we see them sitting on a couch playing Fight Forever, AEW's latest game, released on PS4, PS5, and
Across all
any other
of the
consoles, all platforms,
MJF
blah, blah, blah,
killed
blah.
me here. It's like, I am not playing video games like some virgin weeboo. I was like, oh my.
And of course, you convince someone like that by going, hey, but your stats are
really
really good. Oh, okay, well then I guess I'll play. I'm reminded of the Austin Creed stats reveal that was on G4 about a year ago, which if you haven't seen that video of Austin Creed being very upset with his ranking, go check that out. I thought this was great. It really legit felt like two, young adults being kids and having fun with that. MJF has this weird heart in playing this this MJF heel character, and like every now and then drops these really subtle but powerful, like, oh, you have friends?
I was like, yeah, you kind of need friends for that. I was like, why are you making me feel things for
And he's
MJF?
like, whoa, like really dropping it, but like landing the eye contact and putting that in Adam Cole, and then Adam Cole playing full scene partner, going like, you never
played a multiplayer game?
You never played a multiplayer game with your friends? Like a genuine moment in the middle of this promo, and now we have somewhere to go, and then ring psychology wise, we have a reason to watch your match. Like we want to see what is this relationship between you two like, and how do you work, and are we going to get the double clothesline? All that fun stuff. Like it's there all of a sudden. It makes generic white guy and Adam Cole storyline matter because we're seeing such emotional connection and relationship stuff over here. Like, oh my God. So these two are killing it. These are promos that they're obviously putting the time in. They might have a little more money than, say, Jungle Boy and Hook.
Right, which was what I was going to say. But I mean, if you give your talent some stuff and you will walk them through it, it can be great. You just got to execute it properly.
Yeah, like get someone. I don't know if they're being coached or directed or what, but
it's so
two
good.
of them are nailing this storyline, and I'm all in on it. Like I want to watch it. I have to watch it now. Like this is great. I'm excited to see the next episode of whatever this promo thing is.
Right, and on top of this too, like before the Blind Eliminator tag tournament happened, I was like, okay, it seems that MJF is not going to be defending this title anytime soon. Probably not until Wembley, at least. I was like, how are we going to do this? And now that we're involved in this, will they, won't they, can they coexist friendship between these two? I'm actually okay with MJF not defending the title because of how engaged I am with this story.
Yeah. I wonder if they knew it would. Now I want to know more. I want to know if MJF and Adam Cole have known each other for a long time. I want to know if they've been planning this. I want to know when they talk to each other. Like I'm legit like a comedy troupe. Like, how are you doing this?
This is great. As you mentioned earlier, Tag Team Blind Eliminator semifinal match. Darby Allin and Mr. Orange Cassidy taking on Sammy Guevara and I guess Fandango ripoff Daniel Garcia. I don't care what nobody says. The stupid dancing in the middle of the matches is probably my favorite running bit right now.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I think it works. I thought this was fun. And you might be able to. There's nothing in the match that stood out to me as awful or spectacular. I thought this was really solid. I thought they were professionals. They were doing a great job.
I screamed at my television screen. I was like, Darby, we need to slow down. That's the only thing I have.
Yes.
When he ran full cannonball through the rope, I was like, oh, that hurts.
There was some frenetic moments where I was like, oh, Orange Cassidy almost missed that suicide dive at one point. It's like, whoa, hey, pump the brakes a little bit. And this is a big question I have for you. Sammy Guevara and Garcia win. Do you think that's because we're building towards the MJF Adam Cole? Because we can't have Cassidy Darby versus MJF Adam Cole. That's three faces plus a question mark.
Right.
We need a little bit more of a black and white sort of, not to spoil the review later on, but we're talking about it now. Like, is that because then we don't know who to root for, or we're very conflicted? because even in the winning of this match, we're still kind of conflicted because Sammy Guevara goes into the ring
And he shakes
has
Darby's
a
hand
moment with Orange
afterwards.
Cassidy
Yeah.
and shakes Darby's
Yeah.
hand. So there's a different sense of camaraderie in AEW, which I really like. But sometimes it means you're going to tip your hand into what the results are if you're watching closely.
It is. I think what the big problem is because you have this tournament going on, and then before this tournament, Sammy was fighting. He's like, Chris, I don't know what's going on with you, dude, but this isn't for me anymore. JAS may not be where I need to go.
Sure.
And then we were kind of getting some progression on it, and since the tournament has started, that has kind of stopped a little bit because now Chris Jericho is in Don Callis land. And then Daniel and Sammy are in the tournament. I mean, it was nice to see Jake Hager after all this time because everyone forgets. I'm like, oh yeah, you're part of JAS too.
We go back to Renee after this match, who's with Roderick Strong and a neck brace, and Adam Cole kind of sort of on the phone. And then generic white guy is saying, dude, he's saying, why are you hanging out with him? And Cole says, dude, he's not really that better guy. And then MJF texts Adam Cole and says, hey, I'm getting ready for this match. I just walked by Cage.
Brian Cage, never mind, I'm sick.
Yeah. I got the flu. And then calling him and saying, you don't have the flu. You gotta go over
get
there.
your ass out there.
MJF and Adam, Big Bill and Brian Cage, who cool tag team. I don't know how long that's gonna last, but
I know.
they're just massive man meat specimens. And then Adam Cole and MJF coming down the ring. MJF still doing the Rick Steiner run around Adam Cole, which is adorable. Now that I know that's what that is. I thought this was great. MJF is still doing ring psychology and storytelling, if not better than, in the top 1% of anyone in professional wrestling. I love I'm not able to pick you up and body slam you. And on the fourth one, totally does it. It's like, let's go.
That part was funny when MJF tried to pick up Brian Cage and then he went, my back.
I love this, and you can tell me what you think of it. One, that MJF has double clothesline on his elbow pad is hysterical. That he got the crowd to cheer double clothesline. And then Big Bill and Cage land double clotheslines on Adam Cole and MJF instead, which is just as funny. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was four professionals having fun with a match like this and telling a fantastic story, selling the hell out of it. MJF gets on the mic at the end, talks about how over he is, makes fun of them for being white folks because they can't hold a beat, which they were off. He was right.
It was a lot of fun after the match with them, and then Adam Cole doing his boom, Adam Cole, baby.
Right. And then Roderick Strong just sort of crying into a monitor backstage. Okay, fine. We go back to Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. This quick little beat
made me actually care about Jake. I was like, but you like the hat.
So this promo happens. There's a little bit of drama here about what are you going to choose? What are you going to do? Jake Hager's probably crying. Maybe this is going to... I don't know.
I have to do more research because Jake dropped be like, hey, 10 years ago, I saved your life in Abu Dhabi. I'm like, hold up. Where's the story for this? I need to look this up real quick. Ultimately, Jake gives back the hat that Chris gave him. And I was like, okay, if we don't get any progression of the downfall of this relationship or the JAS, I'm like, then what was this for?
And why was this here? I mean, maybe they learned something in having a faction and not knowing what to do with it. Sure.
Or the fact that this faction has ran its course.
See, but if that's the storyline and they're hinting at it, they can't invoke the WWE canon, right?
Right.
So if that's just something we have to put above board for the D&D people to be like, oh, this is the thing that's happening. So I don't know. You could be right. I mean, maybe they were in Nam together and they just look good for their age, or the Gulf together or something crazy like that. I don't know. There's some war story in there. We'll get flashbacks from 28 years ago.
Actually, I'd be kind of down for that if I'm not going to lie. But speaking of things that I'm not down with, right? Tony Khan.
What aren't you down with?
Tony Khan. Let's talk about this real quick.
So, I think I know what you're going to say.
Go for it.
Why don't you go ahead and say it? Go ahead and say it.
Why do we still only have one women's match a week on Dynamite? You have a whole ass roster.
We are 5 weeks in a row where the women have only gotten 10 minutes. This was another 10-minute match.
We got one
to a T.
Yeah, we got one match, and this match was fine. But the promo that we got later in the evening, I'm more excited for that. But I was just like, we need more women's matches. So, anyways, right? So this match was the Owen Hart Women's Cup. This is a semifinal match. Winner goes on, I believe it's Collision next Saturday in the finals. And so it was Ruby Soho taking on my personal favorite that I've come to love within the last couple weeks, Sky Blue.
She's incredible.
My heart,
she's great.
Spoiler alert, my heart is broken because Sky didn't win this match, but
I thought she might have. Because we've been riding this Ruby Soho train so long in Dynamite. And we're no longer spray painting people, which is, neither here nor there, but the can's always there. I'm kind of over your friends are getting kicked out thing too.
The numbers advantage is kind of getting on my nerves with the Outcast because it always happens every single match.
The Outcast getting kicked out and the ref going, "Get out of here, go!" And then she wins it on her own, and now we're here. This might have been a cool opportunity to do something different instead of just using the women's roster as jobbers to go out there and fill 10 minutes every now and then.
Well,
I think that's kind of shitty.
And here's my thing too. I love Ruby, don't get me wrong, but I'm just like,
Ruby's great.
Ruby's great, but I feel that if you're going to do the Owen Hart Cup, I feel like the Owen Hart should put over like I don't want to say new because Ruby hasn't even been there a whole year. Well, almost close to a year at this point, so she's still fairly new to AEW. But Sky and a couple of the other girls in the tournament and just in AEW in general are considered your like homegrown stars, right? So I thought, and I might be biased because I like Sky, I feel like Sky should have won. I get that you want Ruby's going to the finals, and this is the second time since she was in the finals last year for the Owen Hart, and it was her versus Britt for the finals.
Right, we talked about that. That's right. Yeah. And now both of them eliminated. Like, but okay.
It made sense for, like, I was okay with Britt losing the way she did, because it was like, okay, like, this has history, but now Ruby defeated her. All right, cool. Sky has been building momentum, and I mean, honestly, Sky really should have gone over here, because I guess it makes sense because Sky has pretty much beaten most of the Outcasts at this point, whether it be in singles or tag team matches over the last couple of weeks, but I feel that she still should have won. And I mean, this match was like, what, 7-8 minutes, which also bothered me.
10 at the most. 10 if you include walking to the ring.
I'm just like, ugh.
12 if you include the 2 minutes after watching the Outcasts pick on her and leave. I don't know why it's not happening. I'm at the point now where, and I hope this doesn't, I'm not trying to say, I'm going to say it like this. I'm craving like a ladies' night. I'm craving a AEW or WWE. Here's 2 hours of just women's wrestling.
Well,
give them their own show. If you're not going to use them, give them their own thing. And I bet you it's going to run tighter and cleaner. They're not going to put up with any BS. The stories might actually make sense. There's going to be, I'm sure there's egos involved, but
you know what? It's still, so you want to hear something funny, right? So WWD did have that at one point. That was what Evolution was like back in 2015, 2016. It was an all women's pay-per-view. And we got some ballin' matches. Charlotte versus Becky in a Falls Count Anywhere match was phenomenal. You had the finals of the Mae Young Classic. And
I remember this. We talked about this on Bi-conics at one point.
The Mae Young Classic. The Mae Young Classic was also really good because you took women wrestlers from all over the world to compete, and this is where we got introduced to eventually like Asuka, Io Sky, Kairi, Mia Yim, babyface Rhea Ripley, and Toni Storm. Like most of these women got signed, and I'm just like. Evolution was an all women's pay per view. It was so good. But you want to know why it's not going to happen again? It's because the person who was a proponent for that and fought tooth and nail to get that done is no longer working internally at the company because Stephanie McMahon is like chilling with her children, which sucks because Stephanie is a big women's wrestler like supporter,
Sure.
and so is Triple H, and Stephanie put together Evolution, and I want it back so bad. But the problem is there's nobody in WWE who wants to throw the women on the screen. I mean, Triple H wants to try, but Vince is being a bitch about it.
Well, and then Tony Khan's not much better. Track record wise, like we're not seeing him push so much more.
I will say, as much as I'm complaining about the storylines, at least booking wise, like the big storylines in AEW have been executed amazingly. It's all the secondary and tertiary stories that are kind of falling to the wayside. Yeah. But I'm hoping with Tony kind of now delegating other people to do certain things, I'm starting to see it slowly getting better. And, I got to spotlight Collision real quick, but I feel like it's two different groups of people writing for Collision and Dynamite sometimes. I'm like, Collision feels more cohesive. It's weird. Okay, so I'm going to combine these two segments because the best and the worst thing happened within the span of 5 minutes. The best thing was prior to this, we got a backstage segment between Willow and Athena. Y'all, I'm so excited for that match. And I wish this was the finals match between these two, honestly. My prediction is Willow's going to win, and then she's going to get... Because if Willow wins, she gets a championship match at Death Before Dishonor, and I think Athena's going to beat that ass at the pay-per-view. But still... This is going to be, honestly, this is going to be a great match, and I felt really bad that Willow couldn't participate, but it makes sense because when you defend the New Japan Strong Championship and you get your ass beat by now new champion Julia, it's going to hurt because Julia hits hard, but she's a Japanese wrestler like Asuka. She will kill you. It's great.
That's what they do.
So that was the best thing, and then the worst thing was this music video. Here's the thing. I have seen comments online, and I'm not degrading Harley Cameron as a person. Y'all need to calm down with all that. I mean, she's playing the sexy character, but some of y'all comments go beyond just the thirst tweets. Y'all are getting graphic with it, and y'all need to stop.
I've not gone to that dark side, but I could only imagine.
I have said this on our at the Rampage reviews. I need Johnny TV to get out of this faction as quickly as he can, because if this is going to be the direction that we're continuing, I didn't hate the music video, but, I was just like, I know what they're trying to do, because they're taking the rap video was a diss track, if you want to call it that, to the Acclaimed, and I'm like, but why? And this is what frustrates me, because the Acclaimed have organically gotten over with the AEW universe. I mean, for God's sakes, the Scissor Me Daddy Ass shirts are selling like hotcakes. By the way, we need to get some. I love the Acclaimed. Their Max Caster like rapping like a cornball in the entrance makes sense. Like, it's fun. This music video is not fun, and the whole epitome of this feud is just like, what is happening? What are we doing? Like, again, when you are a professional wrestling fan, you have to suspend your disbelief, but this was, I mean, it was produced very well. I thought the shots and everything were great. I was like, it's better than most like WWE rap videos that we've had in the past.
No,
I just don't care.
I didn't care. I have no problem with the production value of the thing, and I didn't hate the sort of B- level hip hop that we were being portrayed. This sort of pop hop, if you will.
Like, the flow was actually pretty fine. I was like, you know what? Like, it's better than most people.
Shoot, someone threw some money on them beats, and if she's writing these herself,
that's talent. She's
not bad.
But as far as like perpetuating the feud between QTV and then the Acclaimed with Daddy Ass, I'm just like,
why?
I don't care.
What we should do is it's not really a super secret thing, but we're trying to plan a super secret trip a year from now to go to a certain pay-per-view that happens once a year.
A certain couple of pay-per-views.
and might be happening in the town of Philadelphia. And if we all end up wearing daddy ass shorts to that thing,
I mean, shirts and shorts is a must now. We got to wear the booty shorts.
That would be everyone knowing exactly what we're doing. Like, Hi, how are you? We come from over there. That kind of thing.
Hey.
I don't know. I don't hate it, but like you, I'm like, I don't care.
It doesn't perpetuate the feud. Like, it would have made sense if the Acclaimed and then QTV had like a standoff or like a backstage fight would have been fine. But it makes no sense. And if you're not watching Rampage, which most people aren't now these days, apparently, like,
I heard. Well, we can talk about that later. I heard sort of a viewer count and our ratings dip in Rampage for some reason. I'm not sure exactly why that would be.
I mean, listen, the Rampage crew, we like Rampage. It's 1 hour. It's really, really good. It's a lot of fun wrestling. It's just that Rampage used to be a place where they would continue feuds, but now it's just, all right, who's on the roster that hasn't gotten TV time this week? Let's do it. I'm just like, it's like, what was it? WWE's like Saturday Night Fever or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah,
or like the equivalent of main event for WWE. I'm just like, all right, whatever. And it sucks.
So after this, why are we here? Rap video. We jump over to a fantastic debut between Nick Wayne and Swerve Strickland. I love the promo leading into this, talking about his dad passing away and learning to wrestle in the garage. Darby Allin being super close. Everything with his mom. They put all of the all of the pain on display, which is brave, and we create vulnerability with the audience and telling us a true story. Mom has front row seats. Mom is all in on this. Mom knows exactly what role she has to play in a story like this, which is fantastic.
This kid, man, Nick Wayne. Look,
this kid. So Nick Wayne is really good.
So
I before I'll let you open a can in a second because I'm just gonna listen to you talk because I want to know what you think. I thought definitely the first 50, 60, 70 seconds was like slow down, breathe, slow down, breathe, slow down, breathe, slow down, breathe, slow down, breathe. And even Swerve, I think one or two of those stiff shots might have been like, hey, come back to me. Hey, come back to me. Look me in the eyes. Hey, check in with me a little bit. Don't just go on. Hang on. But then the second half of this match was like, this is beautiful storytelling. Man, this boy can sell. Like everything. My heart went out for every pain, every moment of pain, every moment of whatever. His chops were solid. He picked up a few things in Japan, it sounds like, coming off that tour in Japan. I really loved this debut from him, and I thought Swerve really took care of him, really got him over. Even playing a heel that everyone really, really hated, and no one really knows where his feuds are going either. I thought it was great.
I was honestly because okay, so as one of the few people that pay attention to the independent wrestling scene too, like Nick Wayne. So Nick Wayne is a wrestling prodigy, and I would put him in the same class as wrestling prodigy. Like you knew there was something different. So like Nick Wayne, Soraya before her injury is a wrestling prodigy.
Okay, sure,
AJ Lee, wrestling prodigy from WWE too. Like Nick has, and even Toni Storm and Rhea Ripley, because those two women also have been doing this since they were like 9 years old. Like literally wrestling is their life. They've been doing this and they were, I don't want to, no, wrong word. They were primed to be wrestlers because that's all they've known. They come from wrestling families, like either being trained by them or have had people in the business. Like Nick is amazing. His matches across the independent scene from the likes of like Rev Pro, GCW, like this kid knows what he's doing and he is a phenomenal talent. And of course, people may not know, they're like, why did he wait this long? Because he was wrestling around the world, but their age limit of what you can wrestle is different because in the United States, you have to at least be 18 in order to be under contract, which is very interesting. But he fought fucking Will Ospreay at the age of 16. Like this.
So we talked about this a week or two ago when we had the first Darby Allin hints of this Nick Wayne premiere, and we had JVL and I had a really cool discussion. I don't know if you heard it or not. I thought it was great. I'm glad we're building him up, and all of this is there. And there was still a part of me that was like, a lot of these stories like this, scare me because they have a tendency to turn tragic.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something in there that's like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? So I hope, and it sounds like you're giving me the confidence because I'm like, I hope there's people around there to take care of him. I hope there's people there that are side by side with him. You hope that it's not just here, go to the wolves, and they're dropping him on his head. Like I really hope that he
No.
has the people
Yeah.
around to
Honestly,
make that
Swerve was
happen.
a really good person to have his debut against because him and Swerve have wrestled many, many times on the independent scenes. And in fact, they were involved, I believe, in a GCW championship feud for a couple months now. So they know how each other's styles
Yeah,
work. And honestly, Swerve doesn't get a lot of credit, but he is a good hand to have because he is a phenomenal wrestler.
great wrestler,
He's a
fantastic
he is
wrestler.
able to pretty much do a lot of different styles and combine them into his own. But one thing I always like about Swerve is he's very, very safe. Like he is a good person.
Yeah,
He's very safe, and like you mentioned, the first half of this match, you could see Swerve be like, "All right, let's calm down." Like, and I get it because
yeah,
this is the biggest audience that Nick has wrestled in front of, and it's on
sure.
his first televised
You're on
match.
national, international, national TV. This is your big primetime premiere in Saskatoon. Okay, fine. But you're on AEW Dynamite, right? Um, you can I get the feeling, like I said, some of those stiff shots and backing him in the turnbuckle were sort of like, let's huddle up, breathe, kid, calm down. We're here now. Remember this. Don't rush this, that. Remember this thing. I've never seen, and you can tell me, I've never seen someone do that arm breaker stretchy
It was
thing that he
so
did.
good.
That was horrifying and so good. I was like, my heart went out like a mom, like, oh god, like what just
And Nick's
happened?
mom was actually it's
Oh sure, Nick's mom was. I love when moms and
she
family are there.
she understood the assignment.
She absolutely did. I'm excited to see what he does and how he's used. I think it might be there might be a him and
Darby.
Darby freshly squeezed thing going on for a little while. Like I think those three might be a unit the next few
Right?
months,
Take on
possibly.
Swerve and Mogul Embassies. Like, I'd be here for that.
Yeah, yeah, and like you were saying, this is a seasoned kid. He knows what's going on, but now there's no turning back. Like here you are, and now, and I hate to echo this, but I have to. There's a part of me that's like, I really hope someone's are taking care of you. I really hope that you don't do that 18-year-old I'm a prodigy thing, and then 3 years from now we're
You
like,
get really
what?
hurt.
Huh?
Yeah, or something ball
Get
gets dropped.
get hurt, get money for the first time, get that little taste of whatever, and all of a sudden you're gone. Like I my heart goes out to those young people doing it, and I'm always a little like, oh, really? And that's just probably me being a dad.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, here's the
yeah,
thing. Like, AEW, like, I have a lot of the more seasoned wrestlers in the AEW locker room have created this culture because I have seen it and I've watched interviews. A lot of the more seasoned AEW wrestlers have like kind of taken a lot of the younger wrestler kids because this is now that they're signed to this company and they're traveling all the time. A lot of them, this is their first time away from home a lot. I mean, Nick has been doing this for a very long time, so he's probably more used to it. But even still, like you're 18 years old, I'm pretty sure like you get homesick once in a while.
those for lack of a better term, those carny days, those kayfabe days, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s to late 90s, early 2000s, where it was, you're a circus going town to town. You're on your own. And if you have a night off, that means you have 2 weeks off and you're up to your own devices in the middle of nowhere, Midwest, with nothing to do. And the world's your oyster. I mean, it's Nebraska, but you could get away with murder out in those places. And that's where we just hear so many tragic stories and other things. I'm glad the business has changed. It seems like it has changed. I'm glad that there's a community feel like that, which I don't think was ever there
Mm-hmm.
before. And then I don't know. I don't want to get too out of pocket, but like AEW seems to kind of foster that, where it's sort of like, hey, we're all here because we love this, and we're kind of a community unto ourselves, as opposed to a WWE, which is lots of big money, lots of big talent, lots of big
Everyone
egos.
kind of takes care of themselves unless you're in a faction or if you become friends. But I mean, WWE honestly has gotten better with that kind of atmosphere, but it has taken a very, very long time to get there. But
Yeah,
overall,
absolutely.
this was a great main event. This was a fun way to end the show. This was a fun Dynamite. Oh wait, no, we're not done because we had one more
Not
segment.
done. So I'm a little upset about this segment, and I'll intro this and we'll talk and we'll explain why. Dynamite keeps doing this to me and it's driving me nuts. Don Callis comes out to reveal who the 5th member of the thing is going to be, and goes out there and curses Kenny Omega, who's the mayor of Canada, and everyone's angry and everyone's upset. And then Kenny Omega appears, and Kenny Omega comes down to the ring and the thing, and then everybody shows up and everybody's fighting everyone. And then someone who I don't remember and haven't seen, with a very, very thick accent, starts yelling at Kenny Omega. I don't know who he is.
I got you.
I'm relatively new here. I don't know who this is. Dude's yoked black hair, has one of those, and I'm a dialect guy. I love me some UK dialects and otherworldly things. This is one that I was just, what did you just say? I was like, what in the crap are you? And usually I'm really good about it, and I don't mean to talk too much shade because that man would probably rip me in half in 2 different ways. So I was not keen on all of that. And all of a sudden that happens. They wrap a chair around Kenny's neck. They're going to break his neck. We're going to kill you. And Kenny Omega says, we have a 5th person. Just look at the screen. If those were your last words on Earth, come on. What is going on?
Oh my gosh.
That's right up there with Superman. Martha, why would you say that name? Like, what are you doing?
It's also the equivalent of like Nolan's Batman. Where's Rachel?
Where is she? What? Where is she? Like,
Monday?
Why am I? Oh, God. It depends on what time it is. If that's like, instead of let go or I'll never talk or someone saving you, your words while you're being stressed are, look at the screen and let's stop and look at the promo.
I was like,
Come on.
I'm gonna beat you up. I get it.
The end of Dynamite, the last 2 months or so, has just always been this
everyone be
cluster
fighting.
bleep. It just got messy to me. And like you just said, it does a disservice to Pac and Kubota, right?
Yeah, Kota Ibushi.
Kota Ibushi, excuse me. I'm sorry, brain. That we didn't get to see them have a moment before we're going into a thing. So now it's just, who is it? Them. Who is it? Them. Great, it's over. Like there's no, it's too bad.
Yeah, I mean, execution-wise, it was a mess. I am excited for Blood and Guts because this is going to be a phenomenal match, and I'm excited for you, Professor, to finally see your first one because it gets gnarly.
Hey, to actually watch it live?
It's going to be great.
I'm excited.
It's going to be great.
So to recap this entire thing, we do grades, and you're a teacher, so you know how grades work. What would you give this, ABC?
Ooh, I will give this week's Dynamite, I give it a solid B- probably.
This was an A for me until that Jack Perry and Jungle Boy hook promo, which I was ready to forget. I was gonna drop the lowest score and ignore that promo, and then QTV happened, and then that JAS what are we doing kind of promo happened, and then the end of this happened. But I'm still gonna go. Nick Wayne brought this up to have kept it at a B+ for me. Thank you for tuning in to our review of AEW Dynamite for July 12th. Heading to Blood and Guts next week, which I'm excited about. You should join us for Blood and Guts next week if you can, Mikey. We'd love to hear your point of views on that.
Yeah, so until next time, we will see you for the next Dynamite review. But until then, adios and sayonara.